Hi. There's something about love that after seeing a client today and having this really beautiful conversation about their awakening from a version of themselves into this other version of themselves, looking at some of these patterns that they've had for all of their life. We get into this love that's very impersonal and yet personal to the person who is giving out this love. And yet, this person who's giving out this love is receiving this in a way that's also impersonal. So, this love of friendship, of brotherhood, of family, that love that really wishes and desires for the other the best. And of course, when we desire the best for the other person, we can become really inspired by different ways that we look at the other and we want for them, and will do for them often what they can't do for themselves. And still yet, that love and inspiring in that kinship is inviting us to also extend and offer without trespassing. In really getting the heart of another person, we are simultaneously in ourselves open and available to receive that which would be in service for the other. Being open in that way requires that humility of not knowing what is for the other's best and highest good, what would be really truly in service, for that's not necessarily something that we have known. Or maybe it's something that we have known, but it's not coming from the conditioned part of ourselves that has utilized that strategy for ourselves. So being open and available to hear and receive that love for the other person on the behalf of the other, and allowing that other to choose whether to receive that or not. Really allowing the other to check in with their own highest divine good, and also question our authority in that, question whether or not we too are aligned. Maybe we aren't. Maybe we are and they can't see it, and in any way that the mind can spin it. Us first checking in and offering and extending that to the other without an agenda and without leaving our own center of knowing what's best and good for the other person, getting ourselves entwined in fixing the other according to our own value systems or what we think is best, and listening and asking the questions and being self-directed and offering to the other can feel very impersonal. All of that can feel very impersonal. And yet it's so full of care and love as well. That love that's really seeking to allow the freedom of the other within their own will, to choose, and in choosing for themselves their yes and their no, they take the burden of responsibility upon themselves with their own will, and thus even the consequences of that, of their yes and no. And also within that, they're also learning the lessons that they are needing to purify their own path of truth within themselves. It's very paradoxically impersonally personal. And love isn't always looking or feeling like what we think it's supposed to feel like. And yet, to observe love in action, to know love, to know in our own hearts that we desire to be in service and to end suffering. And part of ending suffering is to honor and respect the path of the other and their power to choose what they believe is right for them. That's love. We're offering and extending to ourselves freely. And freely is respecting and honoring the other in their journey, where they are exactly as they are. And inviting another way, another perspective, and allowing them to fully show up in their yes and their no, and supporting them in their choice. We really are in this, all of us, together. Thank you so much for being with me.